Yeah. Yeah. I know they mad for no reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Gotta move fast for a reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Oh, 700K, I'm selling a Bitcoin. Haters mad, but they listen to this one. More profit coming to my direction. Yeah, you know me, I don't need a mention. I got the remedy, ooh, yeah. They don't just follow me, ooh, yeah. You say allegedly, ooh, yeah. You would subscribe to me, ooh, yeah. Staring at chart, drawing a line. Make a decision, you out of time. Huddling, huddling, huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling, huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. See on stage. OnChain Revolution. Done this. OnChain. Hey, OnChain Revolution. Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recaps and I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, change. Yeah, send it to the deck. Yeah, sell it through the stack. Ordinals the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Rich, rich. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to On-Chain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire crypto ecosystem. What is up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live from the On-Chain Hour, and we have Bitcoin doing Bitcoin things back over 124,600. So over the weekend, we had an all-time high of 125,500. It might even touch 600, but Bitcoin is looking strong. Ethereum up almost 3% today, sitting at 46.45. And then we got Agent Hustle up 26% today. XRP up 0.8. Hyperliquid up 1%. Aster killing it right now, up 11%. Huge news with them we're going to get into, but it does look like there's some dark pools that are happening with Binance. It's pretty wild. We'll get into that a little later. Solana up 2%. Tau up 5% today. Farcoin up 1%. Farcoin had a huge weekend. Up from 50 cents all the way to like almost 70 cents. So that really, really good for Farcoin. And, you know, is the leading indicator for meme coins, in our opinion. Gold, just killing it right now. Gold is about to hit $4,000. Absolutely insane. But we do know that gold needs Bitcoin. Wherever gold does, Bitcoin eventually follows, especially this year. You know, Merlin up 4% today. Shout out to everyone holding Merlin. We'll have Jeff on the show later today. Polkadot up 6%. Really, really good day in the market. It's really awesome to be in crypto right now. This is the time to be paying attention. This is the time to be learning. This is the time to be making sure that whatever you have in your bag is going to pump the hardest. We do know that we're going to have sectors of opportunity. And the newest sector of opportunity right now is the strategy meta. So if you don't know, a few weeks ago, they launched over on ETH, Punk, the NFT punks. CryptoPunks, they launched a strategy, and that strategy has taken off, and we've seen almost $200 and something million. It did pull back today, but then it got bought up so quickly. And what they're doing is they're doing a 10% tax. Remember those taxes back in the day that we all hated? Well, they're back. And right now, but they're using it to kind of go into the market and buy up punks. And we do know that Node Monkeys are going to be doing the same thing over on RadFi. We reached out to Scott. We're going to get Scott on the show later this week, probably Thursday. So look out for that. We're going to get into the weeds of that, but hopefully they'll have everything launched by then so they can kind of talk about everything and how it's been. So look out for that later in the week. But today's show, we're going to focus on meta. We're going to focus on where the opportunity is, and that meta and that opportunity is these strategy plays. And we're going to get into the deep end of it. So stay with us, guys. But let's get the show started. So without further ado, bringing my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up? What's up?
Man? Huge weekend, monster weekend. You were telling me you were watching the UFC fight, and then Bitcoin smashed an all-time high. My ass was asleep. Tell me about that. Tell me about that night of the all-time high Saturday.
Yeah, I think it started around 10 to 10:30 Central Time Saturday night. I was watching the UFC fights, which was a great card, by the way. And I start to see some posts getting really bullish about Bitcoin on my timeline. People like Bongo, other larger accounts saying, "Hey, congratulations, all time high." So I picked over there. I was like, "Wow, we actually wicked all the way to 125,700." So it was an all time high. It was one that kind of barely creeped over. So I am expecting this week to kind of have more of a confirmation style all time high, maybe 127, but 130 is definitely an area I am very confident that we're going to pass this month. Will it happen this week or will it happen next week? Not sure about that, but I'm very confident that Bitcoin is going to continually lead the charge there. And then, we're seeing Ethereum also say, "Hey, look, I'm here for the party as well." But more than that, I'm excited about, these other metas that's starting to pop up, primarily the strategy meta, right? Like you mentioned, it reminds me of the 2021 DeFi. They had like the Ponzi-nomics, we get that, but it did really pump up a lot of these market caps. And this one is, even though there is a tax to these tokens, the taxes used to go to the team only, but these taxes are going towards buying up these floors of these NFTs. I think it's a good way to use that tax strategy, and also a good way to get the NFT community excited again, because I'll tell you, it's been a very long time since that community has been extra excited. Yes, Ethereum's NFT sector has bounced back from those horrible lows in 2023 and parts of 2024, but this can really elevate that, and there's a flywheel. So there's a token, a fungible token involved now. So that fungible token that's related to these NFTs also has an opportunity to really thrust up as well. So there's, if you play this correctly, you can win multiple times in this new meta.
Yeah, 100%. And looking back in the 2021 area, there was always a new meta, right? Whether it was NFTs, whether it was metaverse, whether it was DeFi, right? DeFi started it and kind of ended it. It was more DeFi was one of the biggest parts, and this new strategy meta started in TradFi. It started with MicroStrategy. It started with Tom Lee and BitMine, right? And now it's kind of worked its way over here to the sense of new ideas. That's one thing. One part of our ecosystem which I kind of don't like is we get kind of stuck in the old ideas. No one really comes up with new ideas, and then we have to look on the outside, and it's TradFi coming up with these, but we're using them in different ways, right? We're taking their idea and we're actually taking it and making it stronger, right? So let's kind of just work our way right into that then. Our title of the show right now is the new meta that could 100x by the end of Q4. Don't miss this breakout trend. All right, let's start from the beginning. Where did this come from? This new NFT meta.
The new NFT meta came from the punk strategy, and it's really the way that they explain it. If you go to nftstrategy.fun, is a kind of like a perpetual flywheel, right? And I'm going to the website right now. It says turn any collection into a perpetual machine. The protocol will automatically buy and list floor NFTs for a profit using the trading fees generated by the token. So that's where this started. And then I remember seeing posts from Rock Toshi a couple months ago. So I think this was something that was building and said, "Hey, we need to prepare something really exciting for the last quarter, because that's whenever the liquidity event should happen. That's whenever things should go into risk on." And so I believe that this has been in the planning, like it's been in the works, right? And now they're getting ready to release the Bitcoin side of it, but the Ethereum side obviously started kick things off, which is great because Ethereum did kick things off in 2021 as well with the DeFi sector. So it kind of makes sense. But look, the Punk Strategy Token, even just last week, was at an all-time high of like 75 million, around there. And then it went even more hyper aggressive and got to, I believe, right at like 300 million. Now there is a pullback right now. So there has been some profit taking, but they also bought some more punks on the floor for the fees that they earn from this. So that's where the flywheel effect takes place. So this thing could get really crazy because we haven't really gotten into like the risk on liquidity events yet. And I believe that that's going to happen in the next 2-3 weeks. That will really get a bit more aggressive, I should say. But right now it's just getting started, right? So I expect a token like this, the Punk Strategy, to get to $1 billion. I think that should be a pretty easy goal, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. And look at this, right? Look at the volume. This is the daily volume, 10.2 million, right? So what does that say? I mean, if a punk is 230,000, that's a minimum, 4 punks, right? 3 to 4 punks. A debt like off just as one volume. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine if this keeps happening and potentially now it's even more bullish because they added three more punks to their portfolio, right? And now it's like, and what this allows too, a lot of people don't understand this is, a lot of people like me, I don't have 200 grand to throw into a punk, but now I can get exposure to punks without having to actually put up the 200 grand. I can put $1,000 in this, and if the punk's 2x, 3x, this thing might 10x. Right? It's real exposure. It's actually like leveraged exposure because it has a token and it's burning the token and the buybacks and stuff like that. Of buying back and burning the token. That's something we haven't really talked about either. So what they're doing is a lot of the fees too. They're buying back the token and burning it, like the flywheel effect, kind of like you just said. But like, yeah, this is insane.
Yeah, especially in a bullish quarter, right, of a bull run year. If we do get those liquidity events, we go into risk on, then what you're doing is, let's say, punks are flying because of this flywheel and, the floors are just going up. Everybody's getting so bullish about it. And the token starts taking a little bit of hits because people want to get in the punks as they're rising up. Well, no problem, because, part of this flywheel is selling these punks in good profit and then elevating the token back up. So, there's going to be opportunity in both areas, and that could work out very well in a high liquidity environment, right? So, let's say we get like a month and a half of this, that could be amazing opportunity. And there's also some projects that are following that kind of, I guess like strategy in a sense, right? And it's all under one company, which is crazy, called TokenWorks. And so they're just putting all of the popular collections on Ethereum into this mechanism flywheel, right? So now, Ordinals is trying to get started with their version of this, which could really thrive as well. You're starting off with node monks, and I think that's the perfect project to kick things off.
Yeah, 100%. And real quick though, just going through the ETH ones, you have Punk Strategy, and you got Moonbird Strategy, which is Burb Strategy, and then you have the Pudgy ones, which is pretty brand new, sitting at 12 million, and then you have the Apester, right? But none of these really raised, from my understanding, they never raised funds, so they don't really have a lot of NFTs inside these vaults. And then you got something like Node Monkey, right, which kind of just came out. And they basically did a pre-sale last week. The pre-sale was at 7 million. On OTC right now, it's selling at 23 million. So we do know that Node Monkey strategy is something that's going to launch on RadFi. RadFi is a Bitcoin L1 experience where they, you have a trading wallet and your Bitcoin wallet. Your Bitcoin wallet controls your trading wallet. It's on their side of it. It allows you to do really fast trades. They don't custody your funds. You still custody your funds by your wallet. They use multi-sigs in that area to make sure that everything is done properly. We're gonna have Scott on the show later in the week, kind of really give an in-depth breakdown of that. But how do you feel about Node Monkeys right now? They went live at around 7 million with their pre-sale, and they're right now they're sitting at about 23. This is OTC, so this could change drastically, right? This is not tradable right now. But I mean, China's involved. When China's involved, things get pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's the big kicker there. How much will China get into playing on RadFi? But also, I'm very bullish for RadFi if they play this correctly, because if you go to NFTstrategy.fun, that is ran by TokenWorks, which is the company. So you could say that RadFi has the same opportunity as TokenWorks, but for the Bitcoin ecosystem. They have about, I think, a total here on TokenWorks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About 8 of these strategy, maybe 9 of these. Okay, so 10 total, actually. 10 total strategy with the collections. And so they're really building up all this volume, and they're going to open that to the public, by the way. So if you're an owner of a collection, they're going to have it set up for you. So RadFi, in my opinion, if you're listening, and I know we're going to have Scott on Thursday, please use this blueprint, because in my opinion, it's going to really allow RadFi to thrive, right? And just be the place, the launch pad for the strategy tokens that are connected to Ordinals. And it seems like that's what they're going to, but you have to also remember that, I'm sure RadFi, just like a lot of other projects, probably not a huge team. So they're taking a lot of this demand and trying to be able to execute efficiently. And once they start to get that down pretty quickly, I think we're going to see them really take advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. And right now they're stress testing their site. They said we are in the final stages of testing our improved spam prevention techniques. This should lead to a smoother launch and better experience for average users. Thank you to all users. Hold. So basically, it was supposed to go live last night or early morning Asia, which was our last night, and but they pushed it back a little bit. But they did say it's going to go live early this week, which means Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So that should be pretty big. You know, and if you did miss the node strategy, you know, well, you'll have an opportunity to buy in, you know, hopefully cheap if it goes live, you know, before it gets ripped apart. But then there's another one that just dropped. This is called Ninja Strategy. Ninja Strategy is obviously from the Pizza Ninjas, Trevor, and we do know they have some other people. I don't know if it's public yet, if those other people are involved. But there is a rune 14. It is the pizza room. I think it's like pizza or something like that. And let me actually get the right name for you guys. I can actually show you that. All right, here it is. It's called, of course, it's not on page 1. It's called Bullish Bitcoin Pizza Ninja. So this is it right here. Let me actually show you guys. This is it right here. Bullish Bitcoin Pizza Ninja. And this has been something that Trevor's had in his back pocket for a long time. This is one holder. So what they're going to do is they're going to take that token to RadFi and they're going to airdrop everyone who gets in this pre-sale. The pre-sale will go to use those funds exactly how the Node Monkeys did, with a lot of it going into the buying the Pizza Ninjas and then supplying the LP as well. Because you have to remember, you have to add money for the LP with the token to give that token the correct price. But what do you think about this one? If you missed the Node Monkey one, is this something that potentially could, you know, 10, 20, 30x from the pre-sale?
I think it could, and I think all of this stuff is happening at the right time, by the way. You know, heading into like we said, you know, Q4 officially started October 1st. And so, you know, if Node Monk has, let's say, you know, Punk Strategy goes where I think it's going to go, it gets between $1 and $2 billion at its peak, maybe higher, who knows. And Node Monk gets between like 500 million, maybe like 300 to like a billion in between there. Wow. Then this is something that you could see that, you know, get to 50 million to 100. It depends really like how strong this meta goes, because you have to remember, you know, we haven't really had a good strong meta. It seems like they picked this one for Q4, right? And we haven't had one that's been consistent. We've had AI meta, but then, you know, it's really kind of thrived in two ecosystems, Solana initially and then Base. And then you had Tau a little bit. And then you had the launch pads. Obviously, there was launchpad wars, but this is different. This is like a almost kind of mechanism that is built for the holders, the users, not for the creators of tokens. You know, really it's for the NFT and ordinal holders, and it eventually flips back to the fungible token side holders. So that's the awesome part of it, right? It's really focused on number go up for everybody else and not fees that are generated for launch pads, or you know what I mean. So that's why I like this, and that's why I think it's going to be a bullish meta, and we'll see how long it can last, right? Because if numbers are good, people will stay around and continually, like, we'll see how many collections it kind of goes down the line.
Well, that 100%, I couldn't agree more. And like that's the beauty of the flywheel, right? So the more transactions there are, the more Pizza Ninjas they can buy, right? The more Pizza Ninjas they can buy, the more tokens they can burn. And the more tokens they burn, the higher the price goes. It's like, you know, so let's just say they get like 10%, 20% of the amount of Pizza Ninjas. Like the Pizza Ninja floor is going to be super high, which is going to make this really bullish. It's almost perfect. It works perfect because a lot of people don't like to hold art, but they do like to hold tokens. Like I was talking to somebody, you know, a year ago, year and a half ago, and you know, I was talking about ordinals and stuff like that, and they were like, "Dude, stay away from that bullshit. Tokens is where to go. If you want 100x, you want to change your life, tokens where to go." And I'm sorry, I agree with that, right? But I do think you can 5-10x on a lot of these ordinals and stuff like that if you're into that. But if you want to make money, serious money, it's the tokens because of liquidity. Right? And right now, there is no liquidity for NFTs because you have to list them and hope that somebody buys them. So if we add liquidity to these tokens, and there's a big word called exposure, giving people exposure to that asset, that's something people will hold in their portfolio, set it and forget it, because now they have exposure to ordinals without having to own these NFTs without liquidity.
Yeah, no, I agree. But you also have to remember, like, the kind of momentum factor that we're not even thinking about right now, because we're thinking about just the perpetual purchasing of the floors with the fees, but you have to remember the FOMO kicks in whenever that floor moves up, right? So now you got regular participants that are just, you know, market buying because they want to make money on these ninjas or node monks, right? And then you have the kind of fee part come back in on top of that, and then they just keep building on each other, you know, on top of each other from a momentum perspective. Then you look back at the token and you say, well, looks like it's about time for them to kind of do a burn here or a buyback or whatever the strategy is. And then you get your opportunity there, right? So how many times can it cycle through before it kind of gets a little bit, you know, I think it really depends on how much of a risk on environment we go into, because if it stays bullish until, you know, late November or early December, then I imagine that this could keep going until right around that time period, right? But we're just starting. A lot of these haven't even launched on the ordinal side, and so it's going to be interesting to see. Plus the raise part, right? Like you mentioned, I don't think the NFT strategy that fund did raises, but I got to double check on that. But this is for sure, you know, raises that can kind of, this is liquidity, is creating liquidity events.
Yeah, 100%. And this is Trevor for this one, right? The Pizza Ninja one. Like this is a guy who is doxxed. This is a
Yeah.
guy who has his reputation, has his company on the line, right? There's not someone who's going to rug this. So if any of these do well, Ninja Strategy has to be one of the best, right? Just because of the fact of who's behind it and the trust factor. A lot of people, they like to trust. I mean, the node strategy, let's be honest, these guys aren't doxxed, right? I know Trevor.btc. I know his company. I know his face, right? You can see him at events. This is going to be one that really takes off.
Yeah, BTC Frontier Fund, right? And I think like this meta really needs to be a strong one, in my opinion, to kind of bring even retail back, right? Because if it can be strong to where, you know, we're seeing these hundreds of $1 million market caps, $1 billion market caps, that's going to get people excited, and then they'll see the flywheel for how it works, right? And they'll say this mechanism makes sense. You know, it obviously is going to make more sense in a liquidity environment, like, you know, where there's liquidity pushed into the ecosystem. But that's whenever you want them to work the you know, the best and peak, right? So that's where I think people are getting excited about this. They're also wanting to kind of see a little bit. They're in a situation of like, wait and see, bro, a little. You know, I see a little bit of the space like that. They're kind of being like, okay, let's see how high the node monk strategy can work. Let's see how high the ninja strategy can work. And also Based Angels is another one that's doing this raise format as well. So, and then also, how's that going to affect the tokens on RadFi? I think there's just this complete like, you know, relationship between those three aspects of it.
Yeah, 100%. RadFi could be the biggest winner here because they have a launch pad, they have these LPs, and you know the reason why these teams want to use RadFi is because they can token gate it, right? You can't like take your tokens off it. If they don't enable the withdrawal, you can't just like take your tokens from your trading wallet to your Bitcoin wallet, right? It doesn't work. So it's one of those things where like, so one of the big things that are happening in the NFT strategy is people like the large whales, they're just creating their own pools and foregoing the 10%, you know, flywheel. And that's how you mess up a flywheel, right? Someone else coming in and you know, basically stealing that money. Because if you are guaranteed, I don't know if the word stealing is right, but they're basically messing up the strategy. But with something like RadFi, where it's like kind of closed off, I mean, that's how they can really succeed with this. And you know, it is Bitcoin L1 technically. So yeah, it could be pretty big. But where do you see the node monkeys going? Just off this one alone, off the pre-sale that's happening right now, do you see this going day one? Let's just say it launches in a few hours. Tomorrow, is this thing at, you know, 50 million?
I think more importantly or the more important question is how much liquidity has been deposited into RadFi to be ready for that, right? Because we need Bitcoin over there. So I don't have those numbers, obviously, and I don't think they're going to reveal that. But if there is enough people that are preparing for it, then I could see this get to 30 to 50 easy. And then
only one block confirmation though.
It is only one block confirmation, so it's a pretty simple process. I think most people are going to be preparing for that, right? You know, because they want to be ready, just kind of like the Spark thing. Like I'm ready for
Mhm.
that. I have Bitcoin on RadFi as well. And then we're going to see really quick how much of a hurdle it is to deposit Bitcoin on RadFi, because if it starts to go to 30 million, 50 million, people are probably going to, some whales are probably going to try to rush in and get in there. And then also, how does that trickle down? But also the Node Monks ordinal collection. How's it going to
Mhm.
be affected, right? Right now, we've seen it. It's at 8,000. I've seen it get to like 8.5. It might have touched 9 yesterday. But what does this end up looking like, after they start to utilize the funds raised to buy the floor up, as well as, the trading fees and, the whole mechanism? Because a lot of people are expecting with the couple million that they're going to use, that jumps it directly to like that 14 to 16,000. And then from there, like that's just straight money. So what does the FOMO do for that market, right? Does it continue for regular market participants to come in and push that up? Do we get to 20,000? If we get to 20,000 floor Node Monks, that changes the entire market. Now
Yes.
people say, well, puppets at 4,000, 5,000 is completely undervalued, because now we have Node Monks at 20K, even like taking out the raise part of it, right? And they're just thinking from a ordinals marketplace, right? So they're just like, okay, these puppets are cheap right now. You know what I mean? So that could really create this kind of accelerated ordinals floor, just going up in price trend, which would be great for the ordinal space, because if anybody deserves it, I feel like that community definitely does. They've been very, very patient, right? But yeah, so I'm going to be looking at that as well, not to necessarily try to get a node monk or 2 or 3 or whatever. It's more to kind of see how it affects the other parts of the ordinals market, right? Because you could get into puppets at $4,000, and then next thing you know, it's at 9. And then ordinal maxi biz at 2,300. Next thing you know, it's at 6,500. Same thing with frogs, because once we see the ordinal space really going, they tend to work off of each other.
Yeah, 100%. And then that money goes into runes, and that money goes into alkanes, and then it's just like the entire space kind of explodes together with the rotation. 100%. Let me ask you this then. We do know that node monkeys are gonna they're gonna have a strategy. Pizza Ninja is gonna have a strategy. I did see OCM come out and say they're gonna have a strategy. Utah already talked about what are the lady? What are they called?
Based Angels.
Based Angels. They're gonna have a strategy. Do you see every top, let's just say 25, have some type of strategy? Eventually come with a pre-sale, buying the asset, flywheel, or is this going to be left, potentially a few of them? And where's Udi? Where's the Taproot Wizard strategy?
Yeah, I'm not sure where he's been, but I do think that if we see like really good success with Node Monks and the Pizza Ninjas, then I do expect that to happen. Right now, you do have some tokens that are on RadFi that they're saying that they are a strategy token, but until Scott comes out and says, hey, because I think they should, in my opinion, obviously I don't know what the risk is for RadFi to do that, but if they can have a mechanism in their launchpad to where they can have the 10% added to specific collections and in a multi-sig with that wallet of the 10% fees, to make sure that they are sweeping the Bitcoin Frogs floor, or they are sweeping the puppet floor, because there's a puppet strategy in there. And so we're going to see if that works, or if it's all going to have to be raised. And if it all is going to have to be raised, then we'll see more collections come out and create their own platform to do the raise, and then probably end up going back on RadFi. But they want to see probably the Node Monks have good success, the Pizza Ninjas have good success, which they will see that. So I do expect that to happen.
Yeah, and I highly recommend everyone stay away from anything that, one, doesn't have a team, and two, maybe I would say not docs, but the No Monkeys guys aren't docs, but like just really, really dig into the team of who's dropping this stuff. And if somebody's anon and they're dropping this stuff, stay away. Don't get hurt. Stay away from the ones that aren't raising money as well. If that team is not raising money, that means they're just not in it for real, right? They can get out at any point and just dump all their tokens, right? So you definitely want to make sure that, one, let's just say a Bitcoin Frog strategy pops up, it gets the tweet from Frog Toshi or something. Just make sure you're doing your due diligence as well on that, making sure that like the top guy from that project is in on it, like Rock Toshi was with the node monkeys. Now, I'm not in it directly, but at least saying, hey, I think this is a cool idea. I like this. This team is legit.
Yeah, he gave the head nod, it seems like.
Yeah. And then you got Trevor doing this. Let's just say Udi comes out, does his own, which I think is smart for Udi to do. They have plenty of, they can just buy up, as much as they want, right? So they got plenty of money there. What do you think about a runestone strategy? To where like they buy up all the runestones and then, they eventually just becomes the token. It's kind of like the early token version of it. Like that could be pretty cool.
That could work. I just don't know if, with like Leonidas might have to be behind that, and Vincent, or one of those dog army generals to really get it going, in my opinion. But it could work because people have been bullish on runestones at different times, especially if they feel like a token's going to be dropped, right? And I feel like it's not going to be dropped until Dog is back over $1 billion, because they don't want to divert attention away from Dog until it's kind of hit that level of success of no return. And so that'd be really cool if the second token was something like a runestone strategy. But again, Dog has to get to a certain level of success before they even think about that. Someone else could go in, and that's the thing. That's the thing, though, is that the audience that's listening, if you're a big community member of any of these collections, technically you could go in and get a dev, work with a dev to mimic what Node strategy, Pizza strategy, Ninja strategy, and these other to raise for that collection. If you have a strong enough community, I think if this frog one doesn't work on Radfi, I think that the frog should definitely, you got to have that. It's a staple collection. You got to have a strategy for it that is working. So
yeah, 100%. All right, let's move along though. So the other big thing in the Bitcoin ecosystem that's happening is the Spark tokens. We do know that they're just kind of sitting flat right now because they only enable 2 pools. You can't even start up another pool yet. They're in the very early testing stages of that. But we have some big news here. So obviously, you can come here, you can go to swap. The only 2 tokens you can swap is Flashnet and UTXO, but you have to deposit into these wallets, right? But we just found out that Sats Terminal, if you go to Sats Terminal, you go to trade, you go to Spark, you can now swap through your Xverse wallet that I have connected here, and now you can get any pair that you want that has a pool, which is USDB, the UTXO, without having deposit into the website wallets, which you do get your own keys for and everything, so you'd still own that wallet, but it's kind of locked in here. But using something like Sats Terminal and using this brand new swap that they just put for Spark tokens, this is legit. This is what you want. I don't want to have to go to the website. I don't want to have to go to UTXO.fun. I don't want to go to Luminex. I don't want to go to Magic Eden, but I want the top tokens. This is where you guys are going to be able to do them. Spark.satsterminal.com. And right now you're able to trade for the couple of them, but this is changing the game now because you're going to be, aggregating every Spark token. So this is it to every pool.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, and I posted about that this morning because the Sats Terminal is going to be the place that you don't have to be too prepared. The only thing you have to have is really the Spark Bitcoin in your wallet, right? Yeah. So you don't have to do that deposit to that specific Launchpad platform. They'll have it ready for you. Now, what is it going to look like once the Launchpads go live? That is something that is yet to be known, but it seems like the way they have the swap set up for these 2 popular tokens is really seamless. And I imagine that they, Sats Terminal is very quick at adding the features. So I imagine they're going to have something ready for those Launchpad tokens, as soon as they start to hit momentum. So I'm excited to see what they end up adding to the Spark swap. But right now it's just comforting seeing that there's a place that I can go that I don't have to deposit into. They can handle all that stuff for me.
Yeah, 100%. You just got to, convert your Bitcoin into Spark Bitcoin, which we doing was just Lightning Bitcoin at the end of the day. And then, so how it's going to work though is pre-bond, you're probably not going to be able to use Sats Terminal, but post-bond, I think they're going to have everything the second that pool is launched, because all they're doing is aggregating the back end. And once the back end has a pool there, they should have access to every pool post-bond. Which, so you go to the site for the pre-bonds, and in my opinion, you go to Sats Terminal to make sure you can go to every pool and you're kind of seeing what is happening. But shout out the guys at Sats Terminal. These guys are probably one of the top builders in the Bitcoin ecosystem, honestly. They were always on the frontier of something special. Shout out to Sats Terminal for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's kind of get into some other stuff here. What do we have on the docket today? Okay, so this is pretty big. DeFiLlama delist Aster deck. So DeFiLlama, if you don't know, they are the number one, in my opinion, place for research. If you are researching and you're not heading to DeFiLlama, you're not doing your due diligence correctly, because DeFiLlama, they usually have everything for you. Show my screen here. So right now, if you go to perps, you can kind of go down and you notice there's a big hole missing. That hole is there is no Aster in the number one spot. We were looking at this last week and we were like blown away because this is doing 10 million, this is doing 9 million, and Aster was doing like 150 million. Turns out it was just Binance in the back end using dark pools. So Binance figured out how to use dark pools. CZ was right. They're using dark pools in the back end to kind of take their centralized stuff and put it on the DEX. So Binance is already using Aster. So I don't know, man. That seems really, really bullish, but it's mimicking what is happening on chain. And then the team at DeFiLlama came out and said, "Yeah, we this isn't real. This is a centralized chain. We can't show this data anymore."
Yeah, and this was something that you and I pointed out. We just couldn't figure out another possible answer to how they were driving up that volume. And we said, the logical answer is that they're redirecting the centralized exchange perk volume, because that was the only thing that made sense in terms of the disparity of, going from 80 billion, 70 billion to 10, right? So I think this is interesting to kind of, I guess, see if this affects the brand of Binance, because DeFiLlama taking Aster off and knowing that it's connected to Binance volume, to me seems a little bit shady, like that they're doing that. Like, why are they trying to do that? Like, what's the point? Just to show like how strong Aster is? And if that's the case, I guess it made more whales believe in it because it has that much volume, but I think it's obviously feels like a manipulation that they were attempting to do.
Well, is Binance, airdrop hunting? Is Binance actually putting the trades that are coming through Binance on the Aster to kind of airdrop them? Does Binance, itself want to say, hey, like, this is our DEX. Like, we want this token as well. And if we put the most volume, I mean, we're doing it as well. I don't know if that's even legal, but it's I don't know why else they would do it. Like, there's no other incentive. I do realize, this is just me guessing, that Binance wants to go fully on chain, and then potentially we use an Aster as that way of doing that, basically connecting Aster to the back end of Binance. So when you make a trade on the Binance system, you're just doing it to the Aster in the back end.
Yeah, they've hinted that having a big presence in the on-chain kind of area, right, to show that data is important, and so that could be part of why that they're doing it. But I just felt like it was just too obvious that something weird was happening, right? So they could have been a bit sneakier, than having a $60 billion discrepancy between like 1 and 2. But did it attract whales to get in? Did it show strength for Aster's platform? Obviously it does, if you just take the numbers at surface value, right, face value. And so I don't know if that was a part of their plan. Whatever it is, now it's kind of been, eliminated from DeFiLlama, so those analytics aren't being counted anymore. But as soon as DeFiLlama announced that they were delisting it from DeFiLlama, Binance announced that they were listing Aster to their platform. So they're just like, okay, we'll just kind of cover up that headline with this headline.
100%. They announced it will list Aster on October 6th, which is today, and open trading for the following spot trades, which is Aster USDT, Aster USDC, and Aster TRY. I'm not sure what TRY is, but anyway, they're all listed right now on Binance. So if you want to get Aster right now on Binance, you can. I think it was already an alpha token, so you could already get it if you wanted it, but now it's officially listed on the Binance side of it. So is Binance just going to be spot from now on, and then they're going to use Aster as the perps? It takes away a lot of liability, though, if you think about it, right? It's just, it puts everything on chain. It's just like everything is there for you to take a look at.
Yeah, but it still took some time for people to realize that, that volume wasn't in fact directly from the Aster platform, right?
Well,
or maybe they were being
It
finalized,
was.
but it was traffic that was coming from Binance or whatever
Yeah,
the situation was, right? So yeah, that I think Aster's not going anywhere. It's gonna continually go up in number. You see BNB right now extremely like just thriving. It's $1,200, $1,217 for a price point right now. Aster is up 16%. It's back in the top 40, and so whatever's gonna happen here is that they're gonna just keep winning, in my opinion, behind it, unless they do something really illegal. Like
they
big.
don't. They're too smart for that. These guys don't make mistakes like that, right? They're too smart. But isn't that more bullish on Aster though? That they're already using Aster technically in the background. I mean, that getting Aster is basically getting the Binance token, right? You have the BNB token, which is the Binance Smart Chain, and then you have Aster, which if they're doing perps in the back, that is Binance. Binance is perps. Like to me, this is so much bullish for Aster than ever before. The fact that is coming from Binance. I mean, that's
it's obvious that like CZ wants Aster to be like a top 10 token at some point, or like at least a top 20 to 10. And so this is how you get there, right? This is how you get there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they had some crazy marketing. They have the money to just like, they have the money to do this, to pump this.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Mix was around before Aster, right? On the BSC chain in terms of perps and leverage. They didn't have this kind of success, right? And so this is all the success for Aster is because of CZ and Binance.
Yeah. Well, they're the lead investors, right? So of course it is. It's I don't know. I think it's good for the space. Let me ask you this question: good or bad for the space? Aster, the connection between Aster and Binance.
I think I don't know. I mean, I guess you're going to have some positive sentiment from the people that got in early, the whales that got in early. So I guess short term good, long term probably just going to be like, the big brokerages that we know in TradFi, right? So that's what Binance is going to be. It's going to be like a huge player that dominates and no one's going to be able to challenge it. And so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's a good thing short term.
I mean, Hyperliquid was that for the longest time until Aster came along and took that spot, right? I don't know. I love it. I love Aster because it means Binance is coming on chain. It means everything's coming on chain. There's an on-chain revolution that's happening, and it's starting with Binance coming on chain fully. I mean, that's the most bullish thing I've ever heard of. Right.
Well,
I mean, we're in the right place at the right time.
It makes sense for them to be before like Web2 brands and stuff to be. Yeah, but I do see kind of maybe what you were getting at was like these centralized exchanges always felt like they could just dominate from the the custody and centralized level, but now they realize that like coming on chain is a necessity and they can still dominate that way. And Hyperliquid's still going to have success. Yeah, Hyperliquid's fine doing what they're doing. They're number 3 now, or 2, I guess. In volume
until that airdrop happens. Once that airdrop happens, they'll be back to number 1, right, for lighter or whatever it is. But yeah, I don't know. I think but one thing though, I'm kind of more bullish on Hyperliquid now because they're not going to try to destroy Hyperliquid now after all, right? They're gonna and like could you see Coinbase coming in and potentially buying up Hyperliquid tokens to control that, right? Because once you're decentralized, like Hyperliquid says they are, buying up the governance, I mean, that's like that's a corporate takeover nowadays. So potentially you could see one of these big exchanges come in with large sum of money and potentially just buy up all the tokens and control the governance.
I don't think Binance would want that. They would try to stop that. They would buy the tokens. Yeah, exactly.
But then that token goes to $1 billion or multiple billions of dollars, right? So who knows? It's only good for the holders of those tokens. But let's move along here. So let's jump into the fear and greed here. So I have it right here. It's last week 39. It's the crypto fear and greed. Yesterday was 58. We're a tiny bit higher than yesterday's 58. I'm actually surprised that we're not in the 60s.
59.
You got it. Right there, 59. How do you feel, dude? Bitcoin's at an all-time high. Think about this for a second. Bitcoin is at an all-time high, and we're sitting at 59. Where do we got to be? Like, where do we got to be to get to the 90s?
That's the crypto fear and greed. So the crypto fear and greed is going to be affected a bit by like the risk on activity, right? So if we get
I've seen
into
foolishness though.
yeah,
Like,
but
throughout the whole
like
board.
I'm talking about like to that next level of like mid caps and like this NFT strategy thing. You know, this starts to like pump like aggressively, and these other strategy tokens pump aggressively, and people are making good money. We're sitting in the beginning of November. That greed meter is going to be at like 75 or 78. You know what I mean? And so that's what's going to bring that up. Bitcoin alone pumping, and some of these blue chips pumping, they're kind of expected to follow Bitcoin pretty closely. But whenever you start to get more degen, that's what brings that meter up, right? So if you look back to Q4 of last year, I'm sure it was pretty high. Whenever you're talking about like these meme coins and AI tokens from the launch pads and stuff thriving in November, December, and very, very early January, right? So that's what's going to get us there.
100%. Hopefully we get there. But I remember in 2021 though, every day was in the 90s. You remember that? I don't know if you checked it back down. I used to watch shows.
Totally different though,
dude. I know, but I'm just saying, like, I want to get to that point. I guess that was top movement, right? I don't know. But let's move along though. Let's kind of get into our next thing, which is the Bitcoin price action and crypto bubbles, brought to you guys by Artura.finance. Artura, these guys are building something special, in my opinion. Go head over to Artura.finance today, and you guys can get in potentially, in a long here. I'm long in this one. I'm short on this one, but long on this one. I'm at $44, 259% on this one. This is for our weekly segment with the guys over there. I can't wait to talk about this tomorrow in the live show. But definitely really cool. Sitting at 125, 107 Bitcoin right now. Over on Artura, potentially, if you guys are in this first, second, third, fourth, fifth place, we'll get a huge reward. First place gets like 5 Gs, and then split another 5,000 between second and fifth place when there's some Artura tokens on the line there too. Highly recommend you guys get over here and do a trade over here. Get on this board. It could be beneficial 100%. So check everything out at Artura.finance.
Absolutely. Excited what those guys are bringing to the space. But before we get into the price action, guys, help us out on the YouTube side. Smash that like and subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on. All that great stuff. On the X side, let's share the space. Let's get as many people in here as possible. Educate and onboard as many people as possible. And Abstract as well. Let's share that stream, guys. Appreciate you guys. And then Twitch, Kick, Rumble, and Spotify as well. Let's get into some price action here. Share my screen, remove that, and add that. Let's go. All right, starting with the hour chart, which looks really good. It looked like we were going to pull back here after we started this uptrend back on Sunday, which was yesterday, right? Yeah, yesterday at 2 p.m. Central, right? It's just really been kind of, and I was actually, we had a members video. We try to do one every Sunday morning if it makes sense. And, we did see a pull back in the morning, and I said, I think that's okay, especially if we do have that strong push up, right? And so we did start to see that kind of working its way back up at 2 p.m. yesterday with some pullback, and then this morning looking pretty good. All right, let's take a look here. You can see the MACD looks like it wants to continue. This fast line is very important to pay attention to. If it starts to curl up and starts to point vertical, that means that we have further up to go. And then the stochastics as well. We need this blue line to turn back around it so we can hang out and overbought some more there. Let's take a look at the support and resistance. And this is going to go to 7 a.m. it looks like. All right, let's open this up and try to bring that down there. All right, a little bit further. All right, where we're sitting right now at the 125, 144. Support is kicking butt in this area. Right below that, one of the higher volume areas, we are dominating with support as well. It does swing back to resistance at the 125, and then it kind of resistance takes back over all the way until we get to 124. 800, right? And so the highest volume area in this, going back to 7 a.m. is the 124 600, which support is kind of holding that down there, right? So in the area we're at right now, support looks really good. If we can get back above this area right here and back into the 125 300, that would be really good, because support is winning these battles, and then it gets to really low volume and thin liquidity. So we could see further up from here. That would be really cool to see a new all-time high today. But we did see this wick to 125 500, right? So getting to 126, I think would be kind of where we can say, okay, we're probably going to hang out and try to hit even higher local high here. But I do feel pretty bullish about the next couple hours, 2-4 hours, and we'll see what happens from there. And taking a look at the 4 hour, the 4 hour looks pretty decent. It looks like we're about to close up the sell pressure, but that can get tricky, right? We want to make sure that this stays consistent to where we actually do pull fully out and start a buy pressure session. Right now, it's just breaking down for the sell pressure side. And you can see we've had almost 3 attempts to kind of peak up here, right? If you look, squeeze this in, this looks very similar to what I used to show with Ethereum, trying to get past that $4,000 mark before, right? And this feels like it's trying to make a statement, like, give really strong conviction to us heading to a new all-time high. It looks stronger than the second looks stronger than that first, and so let's see what happens here. If we do pull out of this, we could see something later today, maybe early tomorrow, to where we're in a new all-time high for Bitcoin. The daily looks really good. We're just kind of cruising along here. Again, it shows kind of those 3 attempts here, and this is all green for the daily, right? So do we get maybe a red day and then pick back up? We're going to find out, 7 p.m. Eastern tonight, if that is the case. But it looks really good. Looks the strongest for sure out of the 3 attempts here. So I'm feeling pretty confident about Bitcoin hitting an all-time high this week. Ethereum looks good on the hour, breaking back up here. You're showing, some confidence on the MACD. The momentum looks like it wants to head back up. This is almost completely vertical on the hour chart, at least, and we're sitting at 46.83, right? So we're looking pretty good with Ethereum. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. See what that looks like. The 4 hour, very similar to Bitcoin. It's actually ran ahead of Bitcoin a little bit. It closed up the 4 hour, but it is a pretty weak green candle on the MACD, so we need to see some strength here. Can Ethereum break back above 4,700 and kind of start to, continue that ascension to the upside? And if that's the case, then we'll see some more, evidence of that on the MACD of a larger green candle, and see if that momentum will continue. It has technically switched momentum. If you look here, the fast line has crossed over the slow line on the MACD. So that is a technical switch of momentum. But we want to see something stronger and not it just break back down here. So that's something to pay attention to. Let's take a look at the daily for ETH. The daily looks good, just like Bitcoin, right? So there's obviously these are the 3 areas I was talking about with Ethereum that I used to talk about, right? And so we'll see if we can get back to that 5,000. It did wick to 5,000 on that second attempt here, but we got to see if we can break above that and then hit a new all-time high for Ethereum as well. Now, I'm kind of in that camp, and I'm still am a little bit that I think Bitcoin leads the way, but wouldn't be shocked if Ethereum does stay with it and maybe even kind of start to kind of speed a little bit past it, because it's being more aggressive than I expected, which is a good sign for the alt market. So Bitcoin, Ethereum looking really good. Let's look at the crypto bubbles here in the top 100. Looks amazing. You can see PancakeSwap up here 16.3%. Aerodrome pulling up about 4% there. Pyth up 4.1%. Aster, mentioned this earlier, up 15.7%. Mix is finally in the green because it was getting beat down. It is a perps and leverage index as well at a 10.2% uptick here. Caspa up 4.4%. Story Protocol up 5.6%. BNB up 5.5%. You got HBAR up about 5%. Tau up 5.6%. Pump Fund pulling back about 6%. That's interesting, but it makes sense. I feel like there's a little less interest, a decent amount less interest in kind of like these Solana launch pads right now, right? People are focused on the strategy thing, which is honestly a breath of fresh air in my opinion, because it is on Ethereum. Solana is not taking all of the attention, and Ethereum's receiving some, and then hopefully Bitcoin's ecosystem will also with the strategy products, right? So you see Ethereum pulling up 3.3%, Arbitrum pulling up about 4% there, and you got Lido up 6.5%, Dogecoin up 4.3%, and Bonk up 4.7%. Let's take a look at the top 200 here. The top 200, we got was this CoAI up 526%, huge rise up there. You got Starknet up about 20%, so that's really big. Starknet actually goes across almost you know, all the basic chains. You're talking about EVM and Bitcoin as well, kind of bringing, you know, interoperability to Bitcoin. And then you got what B right here, which is one of the larger meme coins on BNB, up 11%. Toshi is up about 11% as well. Core DAO, which is a Bitcoin layer 2, up 2.6%. Eigenlayer up 6.1%. Saros up 10% there. You got Brett up 4.9%. Sneck up about 2%. Largest meme coin community on Cardano. You got Hex pulling back, though, about 5.5%. So that Hex, you know, and then you have eHex up 14.2%. So that's interesting. They usually, you know, go together.
Yeah. Hex is on Pulse Chain. eHex is on Ethereum. So it's
Gotcha.
just, it's, yeah. So they're not one to one either. So.
Gotcha. And you got PulseX up 3.4% there. So looking pretty good for the overall markets here. Yeah, so looking good there. Let's see what's in the top 300. Anything? You got Useless, the meme coin on Bonk, up 18%. And what else? Peanut. I haven't heard that name in a while. Peanut is up 3.7%. Melania up 3.1%. So some of these meme coins kind of bouncing back. Mudang up 2.3%. I don't see Dog on here. It's probably out of the top.
Aster, ASTR. That's actually really bullish because they're working with Sonium. They used to be their own chain, but they've joined the Sonium team. So they're helping out with there. They were one of the leaders in Japan before Sonium kind of came on board. So that's actually really bullish.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then you got Dog pulling back 3.8%, but Ordi pulling up 3.9%. So there's a little battle here. Ordi at $183 million market cap, and then you got Dog at 245. So Dog leading Ordi there, but not on the day as Dog is pulled back and Ordi is pulling up. I didn't see Merlin on the. I know they're in the top 200. I think they're probably in a smaller one right here. Oh, there it is. Up 0.6%. Up 0.6%. Okay, there you go. All right, and that is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the alt market for you guys. I hope that gives you guys a clear picture of the market sentiment for today, which is good.
Yeah, very good today. Hopefully it continues all week. Let's jump into the next thing here, which is roll call. Get into the comments area. The first comment of the day, Tim Baker, AOD Art himself. Let me put you on the board here, lock you in with your 14th win of the year. Congratulations to Tim Baker and that first spot of the week. Shout out to you, my friend. Let's get into the rest of the comments here. We got Webdro. Shout out to Webdro. ASAP Benji is here. 1+ at every single day. Merlin is lucky. It's been a while, man. Really appreciate you being here. Rare Sats Dom here. He's just waiting for someone to talk about Rare Sats. Shout out to Rare Sats Dom. Lackey Lukey is here. Shout out to Lackey Lukey. Bitcoin is Truth. Abstract. Chips and Dip is here. My man Vader Time, man. Every single day. K99. Satoshi Nakamoto himself, the guy who created Bitcoin, is here. He says bullish. Spindrift is here. And then we have Nocturnal, my guy, GM October, setting all-time highs. Yeah, man. Hopefully this continues throughout the month. I think it does. Chief Axel is here. Sonic is here. Shout out to Sonic. I think it's your first time making the show. Appreciate you, my friend. John Doe is here. Shout out to John Doe. Glasshopper, the legendary Glasshopper himself. Adopted by Bitcoin is here. Joko, my guy, said up to a bullish week ahead. Let's go. Myself says decentralization matters. Who would have thought? Oh yeah, the cypherpunks who made this all possible. That is very true. They were all about decentralization. That's why Bitcoin is so decentralized and is really, at the end of the day, the only thing that is decentralized in crypto. But yeah, 100%, I agree. Then we have Stan hopping in at the very end here with an Uptober. Shout out to Stan, the legendary Stan himself, and shout out to each one of you guys who makes roll call each and every day. Much appreciated. Thank you guys. 100%. All right, as we wait for our guest here, we can kind of get into some other stuff. Okay, this is really interesting. Charlie Lee says he regrets creating Litecoin and wishes he just bought Bitcoin instead. Just buy BTC, he says. Don't do anything crypto. What do you think of Charlie Lee? Someone very early to the crypto ecosystem comes out and says, buy Litecoin. Or I'm sorry, buy Bitcoin.
It's interesting, isn't it? I'm pretty sure every Litecoin community member hates that he said that, right? I mean, it's weird that he says it, and he says it as we just enter Q4. So I feel like there's more to this than just the title. I don't know. I didn't watch the interview, but you know, I'm going to go kind of see how he said it. Did he say it sarcastically? I mean,
No, he
he
was
obviously,
serious.
yeah, he obviously built Litecoin, or you know, was a part of that founding team, which has similar fundamentals to Bitcoin, right? It's just faster. It's a proof of work and all that thing, all that type of stuff. But for him to say that he regrets doing it, man, that has to hurt the Litecoin holders, right?
It just sounds like he sold all his coins. He sold all his coins into Bitcoin, right? He's just like, I'm done with that now. Moving on to something else. Charlie Lee, somebody, you know, will always be remembered as like he created something. I mean, some people still consider Litecoin is silver to Bitcoin's gold. I mean, remember, there's like 45 million tokens. There'll never be more than that. It is proof of work, very similar to how Bitcoin is. The same coding language, the same everything. It's just, you know, structured a little differently. Litecoin could go down as one of the most decentralized chains out there besides Bitcoin, right? Because it is being ran by nodes. There's not a lot of nodes really running it, but there's enough to kind of keep it going. So I don't know. Charlie Lee just sounds like somebody who has given up a little bit, and he's just when you're that rich, just holding Bitcoin sometimes might be enough. And he made tons of money off Litecoin.
That's what I'm saying is like I'm sure his regrets are different than other people's regrets, right?
Yeah,
like he still made hundreds of millions, I think.
Yep. All right, let's jump into our next topic here. Every single Monday, we're lucky enough to have the great guys over at MerlinChain. MerlinChain, they're doing huge things. If you haven't checked out beta.wizard.tech yet, you are going to be missing out. It is absolutely phenomenal. It is the #1 place you should be checking for BNB tokens, for Solana tokens. It's actually amazing. Check it out today. And on top of that, you know, they have that AI project, but they also have BitFi. They're the leaders in BitFi. There's no other place where I would actually go and try BitFi because you're not going to get the numbers that they're giving. It's absolutely amazing. These guys were at Korean Blockchain Week. They just got back from Token. So can't wait to start talking to Jeff here. So let's bring him right up. Jeff, welcome back to OnChain Revolution. Thanks so much for being here, sir.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How you doing? You've had a busy, I would say, month, right? You guys wrapped up you know, Token 2049. If you wouldn't mind maybe giving the audience a recap on what the sentiment was and what came out of that for Merlin.
Yeah, I think last week was definitely very busy. All crypto guys from the world came to Singapore, and lots of events. I think this year we have seen more side events than before. Most people are pumped. I mean, after Trump, you know, becoming the president, you know, all these crypto, like regulation of crypto had changed. We see lots of stuff with, you know, with stocks, Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin reached all-time high around yesterday, and lots of altcoin. I think the difference between now and, you know, year before is we see lots of altcoin, you know, doing very well. We see lots of the company making moves right now. In Singapore, I think many things, you know, are covered. AI definitely, and also all this DAT. Many big projects DAT is coming up. And also people are, you know, focusing on more on chain. I think Aster, like, you know, kind of changed the market's, you know, views on actually trading on chain. I mean, Hyperliquid did very well, Aster, and then now we have, like, you know, lighter gravity. We have like tens of different perp decks coming up. I've been talking to the other day. I've been having coffee with the founder, CEO of Aptos. You know, Aptos is going to have their own perp decks as well. So if you talk to all these ecosystems, I think the perp decks is probably the #1 priority for them. So I hope, because we know we see the volume, and we definitely, you know, see perp is something that retail users love to do. I think, you know, we covered that probably a couple of months ago. So yeah, I think people are feeling very well. You know, the price is going up. The October, you know, the interest rate, all this CPI stuff, people are feeling bearish about the employment market, but which is good for, you know, riskier products. So I think, yeah, now people are just, you know, turning on their, you know, risk on mode and trying to buy things that, you know, they are bullish about.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel very similar sentiments like you just broke down. So do you know, you brought up Aptos, they're going to have their own perps decks. Do you feel like this is going to be a chain situation to where each chain is kind of have their own go-to perps? And you know, before in the past, we saw projects start like GMX. If you look at the last cycle or at the end of the last cycle, do you think it's going to be like a small team can start a perp decks, or it's going to have to be like this thing is going to have to be well planned, thought out with big capital, because now they're competing kind of chain perp dex to chain perp dex.
Yeah, to be honest, I talked to many founders of perp dex. I mean, we're very familiar with Surf. We are very close to Aster as well, and Hyperliquid team. We've talked to them like many times. Their headquarters in Singapore as well. I think we need big teams to build that, because it's never about the technology. Because I think GMX and Hyperliquid, they're using different mechanisms. For order book, you need big market makers to actually come to your platform and doing the liquidity for you, trade with you, providing better depth. And sometimes if the market maker is losing money, they just leave. So the good thing about Hyperliquid is, the market maker there is actually making money. Even like one of our partners is being like the biggest one, Hyperliquid, which they trade, I think, nearly $1 trillion now, the overall trading volume. So I think that's the biggest thing you have to solve, which is you need the market makers all come to your platform and trade. Like, what's the difference between Binance and OKX and BitGet and Gate and MEXC, and Kraken? It's all about market maker. You have better depth there. You have better trading liquidity and activity there. So Hyperliquid did it very well. Aster definitely, Binance supporting them, so Aster did pretty well. And looking at other perp decks, if you have order book, you need market maker to participate in this game.
Yeah, 100%. With the perp dex being one meta, and then you're seeing this new meta pop up with the strategy meta with the NFTs. Have you looked into that at all? I mean, there's Punk strategy, there's Bird strategy for Moonbirds, there's Pudgy strategy. Does that interest you at all?
To be honest, not much. I think the strategy needs to be more like token. I mean, ERC20, a standard token, because it definitely has like better liquidity. If you look at all these altcoin, the billions of trading volume per day on spot. So I think it always goes with the assets with with the best liquidity, like Bitcoin. So, but I mean, I get it. When this big stuff coming up, everyone tries to participate, and the FT has been forgotten for a long time, and it's bullish for those portfolios. But I don't think NFT strategy will be a main thing in this cycle.
So I'm pretty sure you kind of know how the mechanism is working, but they are using basically a 10% tax on a token to buy the floors, right? So the CryptoPunk one, I think it got to $280 million market cap, and they were able to, someone sold it down to 220, and they bought 3 punks off of that trading fee, right? So do you think that we go into a risk on enough market for Q4 for this kind of Ponzi-nomics to work? Because we haven't had something like this really since 2021, maybe 2022. So for us to get this back, we have to be in the risk-on environment, though.
Yeah, I mean, if it's retail user, I'll always say just trade stuff you are familiar with. I mean, I have lots of friends who are expert in NFT, so I don't recommend them to trade on perps, because they know that best. If Ordinals is coming back, and we know, Bitfrog, we know the Wizard, we know the Cat,
No
those, No Monks, all those collections. Yeah, we're experts, so we have edge comparing to other traders who know nothing. So yeah, if you're an NFT collector, yeah, of course you should do that, because you're not like, you don't have like a $1 billion cash in hand that can change the market. You probably just buy 1 or 2 punk, which makes a lot of money as well. But if you have some cash in hand, and you are not like really, you're not really from last cycle, who knows the NFT very well, because you need to be in that community, to talk to them every day, to understand what's going on. Then you can front run other people, right? But if you're not, just focus on something you're familiar with. Like, I mean, I know many people who just joined the crypto like this year, and only thing they know is Binance Alpha, and they make tons of money on Binance Alpha, right? So just focus on what you're familiar with, what you are kind of expert on, so you will have some edges and confront others.
Yeah, I mean, that's great advice. Not financial advice, but great advice in general. Okay, so let's get back to Merlin. Obviously, Merlin has been in the spotlight. It's shown really good strength in terms of upward price trajectory, and BTC-Fi has been a really big focus. You guys did an amazing job on average. I think it was 17% APR on that first BTC staking vault. Are you guys going to be opening another staking vault? And what is kind of like the goal for that one? Are you guys trying to shoot a little bit higher, around the same? What does that look like whenever you prepare another one?
Yeah, so all this information probably will come out in 1 to 2 days. And yeah, there's going to be a second series, and because we're not only managing these ones from the retail users, we're also having Nasdaq companies. We have whales, we have lots of LPs to put their Bitcoin on MerlinChain to do that. So yeah, we will have like a joint strategy. We'll make sure different parties have similar return. I mean, somehow it's different. If you just put Bitcoin for 3 months, you'll probably have a lower return than the ones who put there for like a year. But in general, we want to have a similar return for all these users. I think the new thing about second season would probably be because right now we're working with many companies from Nasdaq, so we'll have different strategies. And also because we open more markets like Sui and Solana, we're going to announce more partnerships coming up in the next 1 to 2 weeks. So yeah, more protocols coming, and also like right now we are working with basically every new project, like Falcon USD. We're working with Hemi, the new Bitcoin project. We are also working with Momentum, which is one of the biggest DEX on Sui. So yeah, more ecosystems coming, more DeFi protocols. We'll be having various different diversified yielding like the yield coming from. So yeah, and also I think we just made like a bigger deal with some previous projects as well. So I don't think I can say that like right now, but yeah, definitely in the coming few days you will see the numbers going up with other projects. But in general, I think the MBTC and also the BTC-Fi narratives is widely accepted now. Everyone's doing that. No matter you're a stable coin project or lending protocol or DEX or bridge, whatever, you're kind of embracing the ideas because Bitcoin is showing strong moves like for the past few days.
Yeah, 100%. Like Bitcoin DeFi is really something that everyone's probably talking to you about, right? Like what's the conversations like behind the scenes? Are people coming to you and saying, how can we get involved in this Bitcoin DeFi? Do some of these teams have a plan, or just hoping that you just kind of help them out with the Bitcoin DeFi?
There's lots of discussions going on. I mean, I can share more details when we release the news. Like for example, like before it's just like some whales, some users trying to figure out like can we do BTC farming on your network? Because remember, if you put 1 Bitcoin in our network, like last year February, now a year and a half later, you have more than 2 Bitcoin. And at that time, Bitcoin was like 30K. And now it's like 125K. So you have like 250K in your wallet, which is like 800 times higher, like like based on the stable. So it's crazy. So yeah, lots of people are coming to ask about this, and also there are lots of platforms trying to participate as well. You cannot imagine how many exchanges approach us during token that they want their users to have similar return on the Bitcoin, and they can basically move their Bitcoin into our vault to do that, but by providing service on their centralized exchange for their retail users, because many people have Bitcoin in their CX account, but just not making any yields. And those people who are kind of cautious, moving them onto on-chain, to bridge, using a wallet, like people get stolen token all the time. Like my friend just got hacked this morning. Yeah. So, but if you put that in the central exchange, like OKX or Gate or Bybit, you feel safer because in the end, like Bybit got hacked for $2 billion, right? But they cover that in just a few hours, so you feel safer on central exchange. But those central exchange will come to work with us as well. So I'm just making this example, So it's not only about on-chain, MetaMask users, stake, getting yields. It's more like various different partnerships. You probably see that BTC-Fi a financial plan sometime, like someday in the future, in your bank account. Probably you open your bank account app. You see you can buy Bitcoin, but also you're going to have like a 5% yield, and you don't know what's behind that is some company like Merlin, we're just doing this management for this bank. So I think in the future there are lots of things we can do. This is just a start. Probably in the next 5 to 10 years, we can see all these kind of BTC-Fi, scenarios across different countries, different institutions.
Yeah, I mean it seems like the future is bright for that. Right now all you can get is like a CD with a low yield with your bank account, but Bitcoin in the future, it's going to be more and more options, and probably other assets as well, Ethereum and stuff. But is that Merlin's main focus right now? Is the BTC Fi? Is that what you guys want to be known for and kind of like the go-to?
Personally, no. Personally, I would say no. Digital matter theory and bitmap and inscriptions and memes are my personal focus. But first, this is something that people understand. When you talk to Kraken, Coinbase, when you talk to all these platforms and ecosystems, they want to understand what you're doing, and BTC is definitely something to understand. Second is we're kind of being pushed to do more because we have many users and institutions and partners, so they want us to do more. Like when we talk to exchange, they say because their treasury has about 3,000 Bitcoin and they want to locate all of them to Merlin. And like I said, we don't want to accept that because we already have enough amount. We probably don't have capacity to do more at this moment. But when they ask you, you're trying to you start thinking just like, can we get more? Can we get more yields from different other protocols and places? So I think we're kind of pushed by different parties to move faster. So I would say at this moment, probably yes, this will be our main focus. And because Bitcoin price is going up, people want yields based on that. All these institutions and treasuries want to acquire more Bitcoin. So we have to give market what they want.
I mean, it sounds like a. Go ahead. I was just gonna say, it sounds like just like the space is going into like this institutional product demand that Merlin is coming across. It might not be sexy in terms of crypto degen mindset, but it's creating revenue. And at the end of the day, that's what everybody's going to look towards. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Tron in 2022, 2021, stablecoin strategy is not sexy at all, right? Because people say, oh, I don't need like stablecoin on Tron. I mean, I can deposit my stablecoin on Ethereum or other chains. But eventually, they make lots of revenues. They make billions of revenues, like every month, like quarterly. So yeah, that's like a good strategy. And now he will trust Tron network for stablecoins. Tron is like the biggest network for for Tether, for USDT. So I think it turns out to be good. I don't think Justin tried to do stablecoin when he entered the crypto market, I guess. But yeah, it's just something you need to do, and because we do very well on that, so we just have to do it. Not every time in your life you're doing something you feel passionate about. I mean, I feel passionate about this, but just like for me personally, trading memes is always fun, and also we are coming from inscription, so I personally hope inscription can be great again. But yeah, I think BTC right now is our main focus, and I think many people want us to do better job on this, and we're trying our best.
Yeah, I mean, with Tron being, the definition of quiet success. I mean, people don't really realize how much like liquidity and how much TVL is on Tron. I mean, they're a top 5 chain for the last 4 or 5 years. It's pretty nuts. And if I would ask 5 out of 10 people, especially here in the West, like, do you know blockchain? None of them would probably say that Tron. So it's definitely something that's really amazing. That's kind of what Merlin is. I mean, your token is crushing it, and no one's talking about it, which is like shocking, right? I watch a lot of YouTube. I follow a lot of different people. No one is talking about the success their Merl token has. I know you don't really judge yourself by the value of your token, but other people are. I mean, the bullishness is I mean, this looks just like BNB. Are you seeing a lot of people kind of come in and talk to you about the Merl token over the last week during token?
Yeah. I think Merl token is one of the things we care, of course, and I think people just don't actually do research on every project. Like when people come to us, like how many Bitcoin you have right now, I say, no, we have like about 3+ billion, which is a lot. And people just, first people don't see that, DeFiLlama, because we bridge our Bitcoin to other chains. If you go on Ethereum, if you go on Sui network, you see lots of Bitcoin from Merlin. And people see lots of projects launching, and they don't know we're basically one of the biggest, like liquidity provider for the chains. And also for the tokens, yeah, many people, they came to me. We got like lots of meetings. They just want to know what's going on with the token. We say, yeah, because we make money, we just buy back. We have lots of things going on, and professional traders, they look at the chart, they love the chart, and they trade more. So, I mean, that happens, because I don't know every other token as well. I sometimes I see a token going about 10 billion, 20 billion valuation, and I don't know them. It's just because people don't have time for everything, in the industry. But like we said, I think the teams who have steady revenue, who are working hard, who are trying to do different things, they will eventually win. Look at all these projects we talked about last year, in the Bitcoin ecosystem, like specifically, like how many of them have last? Like how many of them do you remember still have good performance on exchanges? Very few. So yeah, I don't really care about that anymore or get bothered. Just do our own things, talking to people. Like now we're talking to all these ecosystems who, like when we're talking to Aptos, they didn't whitelist us, like a year before, but now they try to work with us, work with running Bitcoin. So changing people's perspective on things is definitely one of the most exciting thing to do as a builder.
Yeah. So with that, I'm going to piggyback off of that, and this will be my last question. I know you've been super busy and you're probably getting tired there, but what bit of advice can you give a builder that is maybe going through something that you guys went through early 2024, where you had just a lot of pressure, ups and downs, but you pushed through it, and now, example, Aptos wants to talk to you instead of you asking them to whitelist you. So what advice would you give them to get to where you are from where you started?
Yeah, so I think it's always going to be hard to become a builder in this cycle. We've seen lots of cycles before. This cycle VC doesn't have money or anything. I think first you need to have an idea in your mind what you're building, and also you need to be open-minded. You need to talk to as many people as you want. I think for me, because when we're doing inscriptions, I don't need to talk to anybody, because we know what we're doing. We're building BRC420, we're building open maps. We know what we're doing. We are the experts. We're the best of the best in building that. And we definitely have all this market attention and traction at that time. But then you're trying to do something like different, like a layer 2. Then you need to talk to everybody. You need to talk to the DEX builders. You need to talk to the lending. So for example, if you're building a lending protocol, you're not just building the lending protocol. You are also building the relationship with other DEX, because they're the ones who have liquidity to to calculate the LTV, to do all this stuff, liquidation and stuff. You also need to talk to the chain. You also need to talk to bridge. So I think I think being open mind and learning from others, try your best to talk to as many people as you can, is probably one of the most important lessons I learned this year. Because sometimes I meet a person, I was thinking, like how do I learn from him, right? Like I probably cannot learn from him, but the moment I actually talk to him and go into details, I definitely learn things from him. Like everybody can be a teacher, you can learn things from different people, from different perspectives, and that's something I think last year we didn't do very well on that, because we just think we're Bitcoin layer 2, so why do I care about Sui network? Why do I care about pump fund on Solana? And all those mistakes turn against us, because we didn't do that as soon as possible. To either build that, or to build connections and partnership with them. So yeah, I think we've seen lots of builders in the ecosystems who think they are doing the best thing, who think their logic is pretty good, which is true. Yeah, I mean the plan in your mind is probably right, but actually to succeed, to get to what you're hoping for, is different. The execution is always different. So yeah, try to talk to more people, be open mind, know what's going on out of your own small circle. Like right now, people are just stuck in their small circle. But if you actually go out of it, talk to people, you'll find stuff for yourself. So that's why I try my best right now to talk to everyone, even though it's something like we talk to like Plum, we talk to Ondo, we talk to everyone. Like even though they're like way different than what we're building, but we can definitely learn from from what they're building, because all crypto business like the base. Also, even comparing to like Web 1, Web 2 business, there's some like similarities there. So you can always find the common ground to to communicate, to discuss.
Yeah, absolutely great answer. I mean, open your eyes, right? See what's there, see where you can progress, even if it's not in your little window. I love that answer. Yeah, be open-minded for sure, 100%. My final question is: are you happy that everyone's out of your city and you can kind of get back to being normal again with Token 49, 2049 being over? I saw a lot of people on the streets doing TikToks and stuff. That probably gets old quick.
Yeah, I mean, last week was like the best and also the worst week of Singapore because of the F1 thing and also the token thing. So the traffic's so bad, everybody has meetings. Like, I mean, somebody there, it takes like 30 minutes to get there, which sounds not that long, right? But in Singapore normally it takes like 5 minutes. So and also like we kind of just not talk to our friends like who live in Singapore. We just don't talk to each other because we know this, like when this week's over, I have like so many catch-up meetings with my Singapore friends this week. Just like lots of things going on. But yeah, I feel like relieved, and probably I will not go to any other events this year anymore because lots of things are coming up. The market's going up, so we have to be prepared. We have to be in the like in a zone to do lots of things. Yeah. So yeah, just pay attention to our tweets. Pay attention to our new BTC. Season 2 vault. I bet in the next 3 months, lots of big things are coming. Not only in the Bitcoin ecosystem, but also in all the other projects. And I'm very excited for it. We were talking in January. We're looking forward to the next bull run in the second half, and it seems like in the past few months, and now it's coming better. It's becoming better and better.
Yeah, love it.
It really
Well,
is.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for spending time with our audience. It's amazing that you do this for us once a week, right? So we appreciate you, and we will talk to you soon.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Yeah, talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye.
Jeff. See you, bud. Absolutely amazing as always. It's great to talk to Jeff, man, especially somebody who's he's in Singapore. He saw what happened 24 token, and it's really awesome to kind of see his mindset too. Like when he was talking about being open-minded and being everywhere at the same time, right? Like that was really big. Closing your circle or closing off to just what it might be the worst decision you can make. It's really cool to hear that.
Yeah, and you can get stuck in that mindset, especially. I mean, if you remember the seal, I think it was valued at like $1.5 billion at one point, right? And so like that can make you feel really good, and like exactly what you're doing, and you don't need to learn from anybody else. But to me, what I just heard was like that's the person that had growth and said, hey, look, I mean, you can always learn from somebody. Like to kind of flip that mindset. I think that's growth as a person and especially as a business owner, right? So that was awesome to hear for sure. And I expect great things from Merlin just because of he's at the helm of it, right? Him and his team, and so excited about the institutions, being excited about them too, and working with all these big names, Aptos and Sui and all these things. That they're going to be doing big things.
Dude, MBTC might one day be bigger than WBTC just because of the fact that like it's going to take a while, right? I'm not saying it's going to happen this cycle, but I don't know, maybe in 10, 15 years.
3 billion is a lot.
I know for
for how long they've been live, right? So
I got a couple more things if that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So BitMine bought 179,000 ETH in the past week. No one's talking about this, right? This is something I had to like dig for. But BitMine is the second largest crypto treasury in the world behind MSTR, which we do know is pretty much impossible to catch. I mean, they're 4 years ahead of everyone else. But you're seeing, 13, what's this? Largest crypto treasury in the world. Yeah, so you're seeing this, right? And I don't know what these numbers were. I thought these numbers meant something originally. But now I'm just seeing them 78. Okay. That's 78 billion. Okay, so this should be billions. 78 billion, 13 billion, 6 billion for Mara there and stuff like that. So these should be in the billions. I don't know why it's not, but definitely a mess up by whoever made this. Well, but how do you feel about BMNR right now, kind of really just quietly buying ETH and just loading up for their treasury?
yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that, Tom Lee said aggressively that he was going to be doing this, right? And so I'm not shocked by it. They still have a ways to go to compete with MicroStrategy. Obviously, we're talking about Bitcoin versus Ethereum here, but yeah. Oh, that would have threw me off too, man. So it's in thousands
Yeah.
of the million. So that's why
Yes,
they
that's
put it
why it kind of messed me up, because I'm looking at it, I'm like $78,000. I was like, hold on, that's 70 billion, that's 13 billion, so 6 billion and stuff like that. So it is. Do you think, we do? I think both of us agree that ETH is going to, like, if Bitcoin goes up 40%, ETH should double, right? If not triple, if in the next year or so. Do you think potentially BMNR actually maybe surpasses MicroStrategy from the upward gains that Ethereum's going to bring to it?
I think it's gonna be hard, just because yes, from a percentage standpoint, because of the price point, but you're talking about Bitcoin getting to like $1 million at some point, even with Ethereum getting to possibly like 20 grand or 30 grand. I'm not saying it's impossible, but like, there was a statement I saw on my timeline. I think it was from Saylor. He said whenever billionaires, are buying massive amounts of Bitcoin is whenever that's like, you're not going to even price it in fiat anymore. It's going to be just like, because it's going to surpass, like, you know what I mean? And so that's the expectation is with that 21 million. And, Ethereum doesn't have a humongous supply. Well, I think it caps at 70, something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, there is no actual cap,
but the burn mechanism should keep it around there, if not actually bring it down, because if it depends
it's lower inflation than Bitcoin. ETH is lower right now.
Yeah,
until the next halving.
So there could be like an expedited jump up with BitMine's value that they have, but it's going to be interesting to see if they can at least get closer. But yeah, and then you see Mara right below it, with that's Bitcoin, right? I imagine.
Yeah, I think it does. I think BMMR actually surpasses it next year, early 2026. I think because like I have I think Bitcoin's going to 700 and 700,000, but I think Ethereum has a chance to potentially get to 30,000 in the cycle. Like, it could really run up. You got to remember, ETH is on like 9 or 10 different chains, right? Like real ETH. I mean, we're talking it's the gas token for Abstract. It's a gas token for pretty much all the big L2s right now. And I just think that once we get a little traction and people start actually using these chains, I mean, Tom Lee came out over the weekend and was just like, Ethereum potentially could go to 130,000 in the next 4 years, right? So this is Tom Lee saying that. So it's one of those things where I think he's right. I think one day BMNR, in the next year or so, is going to have more in the treasury than MSTR. I just think that it's inevitable.
It could be, right? But also there are some chains starting to do the wrapped Bitcoin thing. You got Merlin does it. You got the
I meant it like in a sense of gas, right? Like, need it there. Like, you can't live without it.
Merlin uses that as gas. I know that you can make it. They have an option now for Merlin token, but then Botanic's forced use for gas.
Yeah.
And we'll see how many. I think people aren't paying attention to that really, and I get why. It's because there's only a couple, and the Bitcoin ecosystem kind of went a little bit weaker, right, in terms of like the dormant liquidity activity. But if it does have like an injection of energy, and we start to see more wrapped Bitcoin, because you do have Lombard, you do have. I'm just talking about wrapped Bitcoin in general. There's obviously multiple that are there, and I think the interest of wrapped Bitcoin will continue because of they see it as a high value wrapped type of asset. But Ethereum obviously wins right now with that.
Yeah, 100%. We'll see. And it does feel like Michael Saylor didn't buy yesterday. It seemed like he's running out of gas while Tom Lee is pedal to the floor right now. Obviously, Tom Lee is newer to the buying, so they haven't tapped into their couch money yet. Like, you know what I mean? Like Saylor has. He's up against it when it comes to finding new money. But we'll see if Tom Lee can continue. And if he does, I mean, he's definitely buying more rapidly than MicroStrategy right now. So let's move along now. MetaMask set to introduce ways to earn rewards. According to MetaMask mobile GitHub, users earn points based on trading volume 80 points per 100 in the spot trades. 10 points there, but they're going to be also giving points to people who use MUSD, and they're also going to be giving points to people who use the new Lena network, because we do know that MetaMask is from consensus, so is Lena L2. They use Ethereum as the gas token as well. But this is it right here. How do you feel about MetaMask rolling out their point systems now? And apparently they're going to be backtracking your points. So think about this. So every $100 that you've done in trades through their swap, you're going to get 80 points for. 10 points per 100 for perps, like when they add the perps in there, and 200 points for every $1,200 historical volume. So every much volume you did through their actual swap, you're going to get a mad amount of points. I'm excited to see my points. How do you feel about what MetaMask is pointing here?
So does it have to be only specifically their swap?
It's their swap.
So people that use MetaMask on Uniswap is not going to get anything at all, any points.
So written here, it sounds like volume with your MetaMask, right? So I want to say volume. I want to say that it's stored in their swap, because you got to remember that's how they make their money. But it could be. I mean, there's a small chance that they could do all volume.
Don't they make like a tiny bit through other swaps too? Because I think like ChatGPT said something about that, like how MetaMask earns like a very like a tiny amount whenever you use it in general. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I want that to happen.
I think you're right. The historical swaps, they don't say anything about their swaps, so you could be right. It could be anytime you use the MetaMask. So you are right. They do make a small fee from every swap that they ever done.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see too. And I think there's a lot of people that have been in this game for a while and probably done, millions. I'm talking about regular retail people probably have done, probably like $500,000 to over millions, not super rich people that have gone through, the ups and downs of last cycle, right? Because there was a lot of people that were up a ton and then they weren't in 2022. And so,
I mean, yeah, dude, think about it. Let's just say you held a token and you did a swap, like that token 10x, you did a swap. That's volume potentially, dude. You're gonna see people with I can't wait to kind of see it. People kind of posting their points and stuff, so I can kind of get a relative of where I'm at when it comes to, because I want to be in like the top 10%, obviously, because that would be one of the biggest airdrop of my life. But we'll see. I purposely use the MetaMask swap. Like I purposely wasted money using the MetaMask swap when I could have went to. So I'm kind of really hoping that that's the case. I know obviously you on the other side of it, you actually went to Uniswap and did a lot.
You might get more points. You'll just get more points, maybe. For using theirs, right? So
yeah, pretty big. All right, let's move along though. Top 7 tokens were the largest unlocks this week. Aptos, someone we just been talking about, is about to drop a lot of tokens. So I think a lot of these tokens up here, the ones that are up here, we're hoping this cycle was super bullish and this was the bullish year. So you're seeing a lot of token unlocks right now, and I think like they're hoping that these prices were a lot higher than they are, especially Aptos. But you're seeing $61 million of Aptos tokens, unlocking this week, I believe. Yeah, between October 6th and October 12th. Linea, we know this is the brand new one. They're doing like weekly drops here. Jito Labs, Avantis, which we know is that Perp Exchange, Hollow World, DeFi.app, and Babylon, all seeing huge unlocks this week. And that's the thing too. We're going to see massive unlocks happening the next 3 months, because a lot of people were preparing for Q4 to be really bullish. Is this maybe bearish for the markets, or do you think maybe they just hodl?
Well, the ones that unlock before things really take off, you're going to see a percentage of the whales sell that down right away, and then maybe the true believers. But I'm a bit shocked that the baby token is so little. But do you think that's more towards like just the straight up investors or the stakers? Because remember, they had their staking events. This is probably more towards investors, right? Like,
yeah, this is early investors from my perspective. I could be wrong, but I think that I was shocked to see Babylon $534 million, $500 million baby token. That's crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that were interested in it, because you're doing a layer 1 staking Bitcoin, but then their network is obviously not on layer 1. But
yeah. 100%. All right, let's move along here. $6 billion real estate giant Opendoor to accept Bitcoin and crypto payments. So Opendoor is a $6 billion real estate tech company that buys homes directly from sellers, renovates them, and resells them online, streamlining the entire home buying process with instant cash offers. So in the future, you're going to be able to take your cash offer in Bitcoin or be able to buy your home in Bitcoin and stables. This is a massive deal because Opendoor is one of the largest buyer and sellers of homes. If you wanted to sell your home quickly, you go to Opendoor, list it, and potentially you can get an offer tomorrow. It won't be like the highest offer,
Yeah.
but if you want to go that route without hiring a realtor, without doing this, without doing like property checks and stuff, you can go this route and they'll buy it off you, cash offer, and you get that cash in 7 days. I don't know. I think this is one of the most biggest things ever. Stable coins can be massive for these guys who do online businesses already.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't sell my house through that, but some people, might, especially if you're a flipper and you're like, okay, if I can get like, like a 50% markup on what I use to rebuild this house, then I'll take it real quick, right? Especially, those people might take Bitcoin, because they do business and stuff and they look into stuff like that, right? So that's where I think it would benefit. But look, they're a $6 billion tech company. Have you ever used them? I actually went to go look at a house using them, and it's interesting because it's an app, and then you press it, and then it shows you the key, and then you just go in. It's a convenient process, but I would say the home quality wasn't kind of what I was looking for. But $6 billion, and they have a lot of business, obviously.
My sister uses them, and she said they do a lot of them as is deals. So where you got to bring, when you go to these, you're right, because they basically just open the door for you like through the app, and you can walk into any home that you want. But all these deals are as is. So when you go in to purchase them, if you see something, I mean, you got to really check everything. She says, like really check everything.
You don't get to use an inspector. Oh, okay.
You have to bring your own.
Gotcha.
So, most realtors will have one for you, right? So she has her own guy, but they walk you through the house and stuff like that. But she says some people will just use this and go around going through like realtors and stuff like that, and then they end up losing big on the house because they have like when they go bring in an inspector later or go and start living in a house, they realize there's problems that they didn't earlier, and you can get screwed. But what they do too is like. Yeah, they do hire people as well. I mean, through Opendoor, if the house doesn't sell right away, they'll renovate it themselves, try to make some money off the renovation as well. So I don't know, but now being able to take Bitcoin offer, let's just say honestly, if you want to sell your house and just go rent another one, you can potentially get Bitcoin in one transaction, right? Just like
flippers might be using this option right now because they're like, okay, right now I gotta sell all my flipped houses right now. Give me Bitcoin for it right now because Bitcoin's about to run up. So
or give me stables so I can lock it in a pool, right? Like like think about that. Like I could sell my house, I can go rent something, and potentially the stables earn me my rent payment. You know what I mean? If there's enough of them. So there's opportunity there for sure. All right, let's move along though. So this is interesting. Decentralized mapping project BMaps has raised $32 million in funding round led by Pantera Capital. So we're actually seeing funding again, which was really bullish when I first saw that. So basically BMaps, they're using the Hive. Remember, I used to drive around with my Hive in there mapping stuff. So BMaps is building on top of Hive. And what they're doing is they're basically giving real data immediately through the camera images, and they're able to kind of structure around certain things. They're actually, I don't know, there's more to this, but I'm just happy to see funding again for real projects like BMaps.
Yeah, and this is a Solana project, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Solana needs stuff like this to be in the headlines and people to talk about it, and institutions to invest in these type of things on Solana, just to give it some more credibility again. I mean, Solana has credibility from its market cap and stuff, but like it's just been known as like the largest casino in our space for the past 2 years, right? 100%. So I like titles like this for them.
So what they do is they leverage AI-powered dash cams to collect real data. So they're actually using their AI in these Hive mappers, and the AI is just gathering data. So the AI can just like, it's just taking in all the images and all the data, because how Hive Mapper works, it's just images, right? It's not video. It's just constantly just taking images, and so the AI is coming in and able to go through all the images and take real-time data, and it's actually giving it to the people who use the B maps. So I don't know. I think it's really cool, but again, it's just more about you're actually seeing an investment in crypto again, which is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting for sure. Oh man,
Let's go.
Our guy Vincent, one of the generals over at the Dog Army, he says GM from the Dog Army, runes and ordinals season about to pop up. Yeah, look, I feel like there is something that's happening over here. Whether it starts with the node strategy and the ordinal strategy and stuff, but I think it can positively affect runes and the other parts of the Bitcoin ecosystem. So appreciate that, Vincent.
Yeah, my guy, legend himself. Just for that, let's take a look see where Dog is doing. I do have one more topic. We can get that in a second, but shout out to Vincent. Shout out to the Dog Army, man. My Magic Eden, there it is. Let's go to volume. Let's go to the 1 day. Let's kind of see how Dog is doing. Oh, not too bad. Sitting back a little below 248 million. Shout out to the Dog Army, man. Holder count sitting nicely at 93,000. Obviously, that's not counting everyone who is holding on Kraken and Solana. And then you're seeing some other ones. Billy, something I'm really interested in as well. But yeah, Mim back to 36 million. This got below 28 million at one point. So runes are back. Runes seem to be doing really well. Shout out to Vincent, and great job on your interviews lately, Vincent. Man, you've been actually really crushing it. So shout out to you.
Yes, sir.
All right, the last thing is actually kind of funny. Did I lose it? I hope I didn't lose it. All right, here it is. So Mr. Beast post, he says, when AI videos are just as good as normal videos, I wonder what that will do to YouTube and how it will impact the millions of creators currently making content. Michael Saylor says, buy Bitcoin, Mr. Beast.
I mean, honestly, that's not a bad idea for him, because he's so rich right now. He's you can keep your wealth, grow it.
100%. And Mr. Beast, though, he's like the leader in chocolate. Like here in Pennsylvania, we have Hershey. Hershey's scared, man. Mr. Beast is taking like good 30% of the sales from Hershey. Hershey's down, and there's a lot of people that I know who work at have ties with Hershey. They do like transporting and stuff like that for them, and they're saying that Hershey's worried about what Mr. Beast is bringing to the table, dude, which is weird to hear, because
I've never even had one of his bars. Have you?
Oh, they're so good.
Are they?
I highly recommend. If you go to Target or you go to one of these stores that have them, dude, highly recommend. It's like the best chocolate I ever had. I'm not even saying it to say it. It really is good. Like, it really is.
Your friends from Hershey are not appreciative of your.
Well, sorry, dude. I just call it like I see it, bro. Like, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but at the same time, it's just better chocolate. Highly recommend their Reese's too. They got these like Reese's that are amazing. It's like a fake Reese's, but you actually taste the peanut butter rather than this like all that garbage that Hershey puts in their shit. But yeah, man. And then the final thing, I don't know if you've seen it. I wanted to play it. You care if I play it? It's a little bit long, but I think it's worth it. I really think it's worth it.
Let's go ahead.
So it's the legend
Murad?
himself. It's Murad, the meme coin guy himself, and he basically is saying this. Let me just bring this up.
I might be early to this. I generally think I'm 15 years early to this thesis, but I think it's better to be early than to be late. So here goes. I actually think the most lucrative assets are not the ones with revenues or cash flows or profit margins, because I think that in the future, and especially in the context of our industry, which is like relatively more open source, decentralized, fewer modes, fewer IP, etc., right? I think every asset that derives its backing or value or utility or whatever from cash flows, that is going to be commoditized to zero or to like very, very thin margins. Those super profits that some of these giant corporations have enjoyed, or even some of the DeFi protocols have enjoyed, competition is coming. Now, if you couple this with AI agents, that are getting better and better at both autonomous coding and autonomous research. Again, especially in the context of open source, where a lot of the code bases are transparent. And really there's little loyalty, specifically with utility-focused assets, other than like liquidity or whatever. AIs are going to be building these protocols themselves. And if they see that some protocol is enjoying a hefty 2% margin, then they're just going to do this whole thing and charge a 0.2% margin. And it's just a race to the bottom. This is why I actually love this side of not just crypto, by the way. It's all over the world, stocks included. I think, and I call this, I'm going to either do a video or write an essay about this. I call this investments as religions. That's the way I see it. And I say religion in a very wide term. What I mean is community, you know, very, very zealous, you know, passionate, almost like cult-like groups of people, value system, belief system, you know, ethical system, something that's less tangible, more intangible, you know, emotional, adventure, journey, like a global performance art on a global scale, finding your people, and all these things, right? This is also a product. And people, I don't know if I'm the crazy one or people are stupid or what. They don't understand that these things, they're very valuable. Just because you can't touch it or it's not printing like dividends or whatever, that doesn't mean that it's zero value. In fact, I would argue in the future autonomous like zero cost world of hyperabundance, the premium is actually going to shift to emotionality and spirituality. And that's my whole thesis for this cycle, right? And essentially what I'm thinking is on maybe this doesn't matter in the next 4 years, but on 15-year horizons, I think everything that's to do with dividends, profits, and revenues, that's going to have like a permanent technological headwind. Essentially, these things are going to be deflationary, not in the good sense of the word. And I think the best things, and you're seeing examples of this with like Tesla and Apple. I'm sure you guys understand that a lot of their like giant value, like their, let's say those corporations worth $2 trillion, it's probably not purely because of cash flow, right? It's probably because they have visionary leader, crazy community that's always like helping and supporting each other. It feels like this cult, but it's very enjoyable to be in. You feel like a part of this giant family, giant trend. You know, you're saving the environment, whatever it is you're doing. But people love this kind of stuff, right? And so my thesis is, whichever financial assets provide this to people the most, this feeling of unity, this feeling of solidarity, this feeling of being like a digital fraternity, almost to the point of religion. Essentially, it's like a pyramid. You guys have seen thousands of these pyramids that I drew, right? The closer you get to this like divine-like feeling, the bigger you're going to be. And so in the future, when I think profit margins are going to be harder, especially as AI takes over a lot of these things, I think people are essentially, as almost like a cultural and spiritual counter reaction, people are going to congregate in these like groups, and we've already begun to effectively invest in and hyper financialize like these communities. And I think this is what people don't understand. They think, oh, this is like these meme coins are a joke, but the handful of them that survive, they're going to become these like giant multi-hundred billion, potentially multi-trillion-dollar assets. And I think SPX is like paving the way for this, right? And that's why now that's just one side of it. To turbocharge this even further, you have this mission where, you know, it's just, it never gets boring. It never gets tired. You wake up in the morning. Did we flip the stock market? No. So we continue persisting. And it's fun. It's fun to be a part of this thing. And I think that, you know, 99.999% of people in the world have still not even heard of this, which is bullish because we haven't experienced this global parabola yet. You always want to be betting on things. You always want to be betting on alts or whatever that have not had the parabola yet. And you want to be there. Like the best time to join is when you're close to the parabola, but it hasn't begun yet, and you join and then it begins. And I think SPX like has that. In the coming months, you're going to see something like this. That's what I think.
So a lot to unpack there. So the biggest thing there is obviously he's shilling SPX. He's shilling meme coins.
I knew that was coming.
The second thing though is he's right. Like when AI is able to write code, and it is, but to the next level in the next 2-3 years, I think we both can agree AI is going to be a way better coder. Yeah, it's just gonna say, hey, create me a pump fund competitor, and boom, within 15 minutes you have potentially a pump fund competitor, and you can now potentially, hey, this project's doing really good, hey, this company's doing amazing. AI is going to be able to write that code faster and probably better than the original, right? So, and profit margins will start getting slashed because there will be so much competition, right?
Yeah.
So meme coins might be that.
So I think he got some part of that. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be right or not with this thesis, but I think where he is correct is that like in the future, but I think we still have some time before we get there. Quantum computing and stuff like that is going to create like almost like a universal basic income situation to where like it's going to be hard for humans to create businesses that are making tons of profit, right? So there's going to be an abundance of resources and stuff like that. So it's going to be more of stuff that sticks out. So I think in that aspect, sure, like you know, it's going to be stuff that you want to have extreme belief in. Where I think he gets it wrong is I think that people are going to very much cherish tangible stuff at that point, because at that point it's going to be so like, you know what I mean, like if it had value and it's tangible, there's probably going to be a few selected categories to where that stuff has a lot of value, right? But then now we look at these other things in terms of like these communities and stuff that create value, and I can see something like Dog from Bitcoin or like those kind of communities that grow crazy, you know, in the future. But I do think we're like 15 years out from that. You know what I mean? Like, I think we need quantum computing capability for that, because now quantum computing creates the situation that you just talked about, like where you snap and then like this AI creates whatever you want it to create, right? These margins get slimmed down every time. So like you can't really compete from a human level of your skill set now, because now you're competing with skill sets that's just too far above yours, no matter if you're the most talented human or not, right? But with that being said, I'm excited about this market or this Q4 because I do think that we have you know, some time before we get to that kind of situation, you know, that what is it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Kind of that type of future environment to where, you know, like our perspective is going to be completely different as like humans, right? Like it's no longer like how hard people are working. It's more about like who can spot like the most amazing experience and how do you get that? You know what I mean? But another thing he did say in that, he said liquidity, because liquidity matters. So companies like, you know, Merlin that will probably integrate the AI and be in ownership of something like that. They will continue because they have the capital to keep generating and stuff like that.
100%. The winners now will continue to win because they'll have the knowledge to kind of give to these AIs, right? So I don't know. I think he's right in the sense of, you know, I actually think it's not 15 years. I think it's 4 years away. I think in the next 4 years, I mean, I recently just saw Tupac and Biggie Smalls fighting in a WWE ring, and it looked so real. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it was one of those things where it's getting to the point where it's like this big snowball rolling down a hill, and it's just picking up speed, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I feel like, you know what I mean? It's getting better and better and better every single day. And we're talking about 1,000 days from now. I just can't see it being. I could see it being like absolutely insane, to the point where we're going to need, you know, a lot of red tape to kind of stop it. And I don't think, you know, especially this administration, we're not getting the red tape at all. So it's one of those things where I'm just so bullish, and he's right though. I think he's right. You know, we maybe I'm wrong about my thesis of you know, getting in projects with real, you know, that are earning real money and stuff like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is meme coins, which could be the community coins of the future that really are the winners, right? Because there's nothing else to believe in. You can't go to work no more because some AI robot took your job, right? So getting involved with these communities that are winning, like, you know, Dog and his SPX. I mean, I might have to buy some SPX right now, like, just in case. I don't know, but it's really interesting to think about.
It is interesting, but just remember though, the people that have the most power in these industries, they're going to make sure that they keep it. And a lot of them, whether it's for good or bad, they're highly intelligent, and so they are already anticipating these type of situations. So we'll see how that turns out.
I mean, Blockbuster wasn't, right? Like, I mean, there is companies out there that didn't prepare for the future that are now zero. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a lot of companies that are. You are right, but there's a lot of companies that aren't.
Yeah, but Netflix was like a company that figured out like how to, take over that market, but that was a person that figured that out, right? Like, and said they believed in it, and it wasn't quick. It's like they used to send CDs, DVDs to people's
Yeah,
houses, and that
I
was
got them. Yeah,
horrible in the very beginning.
I
And then
liked
it
it.
got
It was
and
cool. Like,
and then, well, I don't know. It was convenient because it shipped to your house, but I mean, I
yeah,
think people at that point still enjoyed kind of going to Blockbuster on a Friday night, but eventually it got to the point to where they just got phased out, and it was too late because
yeah.
Blockbuster jumped on Netflix strategy model, and it was just too late.
Well,
at that
that's
point.
just kind of my point, right? Like, it's just like, yeah, there's a lot of teams that are preparing for there's a lot of teams that aren't, and you might see a lot of projects kind of go to the wayside, very similar to the Blockbusters of the world and other projects really that are exploring AI, like Merlin, like Agent Hustle, could really be the next generation of these huge monster companies, because they already have the AI pushing, right? They're already ahead of the game. And I think if every project needs an AI strategy, every project, if you're a project out there and you don't have an AI strategy, you might get left behind. But we have a couple comments in here. We got the Code Wiz. He says, "I'm a streamer and a programmer. Can we collaborate?" Yeah, you can reach out to us on X, at OnChain Rev, at Shizzy OnChain, and at Yagobi verse. Check us out there if you're interested. Stands October. But that's our show, guys. We got 218 people in here. Shout out to every single one of you guys watching live. Not to mention everyone on Kick, Rumble, Abstract, and Spotify later. Appreciate every single one of you guys.
Absolutely, and Bitcoin is hanging out at 125.5, so we are very close to a new all-time high again. So keep your eyes on that. And the MACD looks good. Like we could be breaking that in the next couple hours, but that's exciting. We appreciate each and every one of you guys, man. I'm gonna tell you, like, it's not always rainbows and butterflies for a show. There's ups and downs, but one thing for sure that feels good is the support that we get from you guys, and we're thankful for that. But we're also thankful for our partners that kind of step up as well and allow us to do this. They help us be able to kind of do what we love to do, and that's bring the news to you guys and have fun with y'all. But if you could check them out, we would greatly appreciate it. satsterminal.com is the DEX aggregator swap for the Bitcoin ecosystem. They have added officially the Sparks. Was it the B? I want to make sure I got it right. The BTKN, I think it is, token standard.
Yeah, think of it. So the easy way to think of it is Bitcoin B
Token.
and then token TKN.
Yeah, there you go. BTKN. You can actually swap for these tokens on satsterminal.com. If you click on Spark, you can swap into Flash Sparks or UTXO, and they do have the stable token there. So they are getting it prepped for you guys for once the degenning happens and the launch pads open up, because they're going to aggregate from all three of those major launch pads, which is Luminex, Magic Eden, and UTXO.fun. So make sure that you have connected your wallet and all that stuff to satsterminal.com. You'll actually earn Amber points. You earn Amber points to do swap activities for Bitcoin runes. It's going to be the Sparks tokens and Alkanes as well. And then the Amber points are going to go towards a give back for early adopters. That would be you. So make sure you get taking advantage of that. They also have their borrow and lend product against your Bitcoin, right? So you can take out stable coins against your Bitcoin. So make sure that you go to satsterminal.com and check out that product, as they are, partnering with the largest borrowing and lending kind of protocols, right? Like the Aves as well, and the Morphos. So head over to satsterminal.com to check it out, and let us know if you have any questions. We'll guide you in the right direction. And then Artura.finance is the perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you're looking to swap for Bitcoin fungible tokens, they should be adding those very soon. They are live on the Botanix Bitcoin Layer 2 Spider Chain. But they have this competition right now. It's a trading competition. If you go to Artura.finance and click on Open App, there is a compete tab at the top. You can see who's in the top spots there that you're competing against. They have extended this for another 2 weeks, so make sure you're taking advantage of that. The first place should be getting 5,000 USDC, and then another 5,000 USDC is broken up among the next 3 or 4 winners there. And then also they are going to be adding derivatives, synthetic derivatives as well, like base and Coinbase stock and MicroStrategy. So head over to Artura.finance to start trading and earning, because you're going to earn points as well. And then Emblem Vault is the interoperability layer for the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you're looking to jump your Bitcoin Ordinals or your Bitcoin NFTs, like counterparty NFTs, rare Pepes, you can use Emblem Vault to do so. You can take a loan out against your Taproot Wizard right now on the Gandhi application, which is the largest borrowing and lending platform on Ethereum for NFTs. Right. The team is going to be opening this up to other layer 2s like Arbitrum and Abstract, possibly. Base is, I know, has been discussed, and some layer 2s in Bitcoin possibly as well, like MerlinChain. And Solana is definitely on that roadmap as well. And speaking of Solana, they have the #1 AI product in all of Solana with Agent Hustle.ai. If you go to agenthustle.ai, you can actually use their free version subscription, but it is limited to a certain level of tool sets, right? If you want the more higher level of tool sets, there is a subscription service there, and you get a discount if you use the Hustle token. And the Hustle token is the single token that powers the entire Emblem ecosystem. And so you'll get a discount if you use the Hustle token for that. But what Hustle can do for you is find some good runners for you within the Solana ecosystem, right? He'll find some good runners for you and tell you why he thinks that these tokens are solid runners. You just, talk to him, ask him what you want him to do for you, right? And then he will execute for you. And there's also a conditional trading engine within Hustle, so you can set some buy and sell limit orders. He'll take care of those for you while you're out doing whatever you need to do. So head over to agenthustle.ai today. And there is another product within this ecosystem called Migrate.fun. Migrate.fun is a migrate tool. So if you launched in the Solana ecosystem on PumpFun or Bonk and you need to migrate to the opposite launchpad, they'll help you do that. Or you can just migrate to your own LPs so you can manage those and earn the most fees that you want to earn there. So super exciting stuff. They already, started their first cohort with a lot of success. A big name money token migrated. So with good success, I think like 95% of the community migrated. So if you're interested in possibly getting into the next cohort, head over to migrate.fun, check it out, and reach out to the team, and they will guide you through the steps of getting you set up for that next cohort if you can get into it. And so the team is awesome. Make sure you head over to emblem.vision to learn about all the products I broke down there. And then MerlinChain is uniting Bitcoin strength through the power of AI. They have their AI tool called the Wizard 2.0 that can guide you through their ecosystem and do some DeFi activities for you, like staking and swapping, or swap for other tokens on other chains like Solana or BNB as well. But speaking of staking, you can participate in their proof of stake security model. There's 3 ways to do this. The first one is staking Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin. They're going to have details for the next vault that's going to be released very soon. But the first vault on average delivered a 17% APR, which is absolutely wild for staking Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin. They are getting tons of institutional attention for this and investment. I think $55 million was used to with MerlinChain to earn for them, right? So really, really a lot of good attention in terms of this product. And then there's 2 other products for the MerlinChain token. The flexible, which is a day-to-day, you earn 15% APR. It does take 7 days to withdraw from that. There's a cool down period, but you do earn that 15% APR, and you can claim your rewards daily and roll those into a compound interest strategy there. And then there's the bonded strategy of product that you lock up for 6 months, but you earn 45% APR. And same thing, you can claim those rewards daily and roll them up in a compound interest kind of strategy as well. But yeah, big things coming from this team. They're partnering with everybody, as you heard Jeff say earlier, talking to Aptos, Sui, all those people. Their MBTC is growing in strength with their brand every single day. Head over to merlinchain.io today to learn more. And we thank you guys so much for checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job, man. As always on that. If you guys have a few more minutes and wouldn't mind checking out onchainrevolution.io. We have some of the best articles going all the way back to 2023. If you know someone just entering a space, please send them our website. We really feel like I can help them get started and code up to where we are today. If you guys need a VPN, highly recommend NordVPN. I use it every single day. You get 77% off. If you use our link here, you get $3.09. Lock it in. You get 27 months for locking in for $66. Set it, forget it, be done with it. have a VPN. It'll allow you to use stuff like Hyperliquid. It'll allow you to use stuff like MEXC, and it is one of the best. And there's free ones out there, but I've used them all, and I always come back to Nord. Just lock it in, set it, forget it, be done with it. And if you're interested in merch, we have some of the best merch in all of crypto, hats, jackets, shirts, and much, much more. Check everything out here at onchainrevolution.io. And guys, remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. And until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain revolution. Market recap. You're not bullish, no. You're not bullish, no. Look at the price go, Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action wrong. Don't fall for the big trap. Shopping indexes and putting it up in the sets. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. They don't want you to know. Go to the market react. Feed her greed, gotta adapt. And we bridging the tokens and using the network right now. Know how crazy we are. Niggas are savages now. Know how crazy we are. Chain of traction, main attraction. OnChain revolution.